This episode is presented to you by NFL Sunday Ticket, now on YouTube and YouTube TV. With NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube and YouTube TV, you can watch your favorite team's out-of-market Sunday games, plus watch up to 4 games at once with Multiview. Don't miss the race to the playoffs. NFL Sunday Ticket is now just $39 when bundled with YouTube TV, where you get even more football. Visit youtube.com/Spotify offer to sign up now. Lowest price on YouTube TV with base plan. Rest of 2023 season. Terms and embargoes apply. No cancellations.
The holidays start here at Kroger with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. You could do a classic herb-roasted turkey or spice it up and make turkey tacos. Serve up a go-to shrimp cocktail or use Simple Truth wild-caught shrimp for your first Cajun risotto. Make creamy mac and cheese or a spinach artichoke fondue from our selection of Murray's cheese. No matter how you shop, Kroger has all the freshest ingredients to embrace all your holiday traditions. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to Post-Match Raw Cup Edition. It's me, Guy, hosting in the usual seat for this one, but I am joined by the regular host, Trev. How you doing, Trev?
Very well indeed. It feels like I've said this before for some strange reason, but I have a big smile on my face, Guy, after that. It was entertaining, it was invigorating, it was massively encouraging because of, I think, what we've all agreed was a sequence of lackluster performances kind of came to a head with that really poxy result against United that had us all a bit down in the dumps, you know, considering what stage they're at and how hopeful we had been about sitting on top of the league. But, you know, it feels a little bit like a reboot, like somebody hit reset. And I hope it's not going to be lost. And I'm sure we'll come to it during the analysis of the game. I hope it's not going to be lost on the lads who were responsible for this setup tonight. And listen, a word of praise, because Klopp went with this comparatively strong lineup. Some people might have thought it was a bit of a mistake given the Arsenal game at the weekend. Certainly I saw an awful lot of eyebrows being raised about Dom Szoboszlai, but the fella turned his recent form around on the night. Now, the reasons for that are probably just not as simple as Dom suddenly became good. It might be a lot to do with the fact that he had no one clogging up the areas in which he was trying to operate. He was free to do it. It might be to do with the support he was receiving from midfield. It might be to do with the absence of one or two others and the absence of certain, let's say, overly complicated tactics that we seem to be trying to shoehorn into the way that we operate. But at the end of the day, like I said, big smile on my face here, because this feels like an important kind of a win, more important, shall we say, than the quarterfinal of a Carabao Cup, because of what it might mean going into this big game at the weekend.
Yeah, and this is the second time I've started this bloody podcast, so Dave, I'll ask this a bit cleaner this time. That's probably the most free-flowing we've been in a long while in terms of attack. We've obviously had good performances this season, the Brentford, Villa, etc. But in terms of free flowing, I don't think we've seen that since Pete Klopp, really.
Yeah, back when the old front three were in their pomp and they were just tearing the league apart, and Trent and Robbo were flying down the wings. Like we haven't been that free flowing, that open in terms of how we attack. Trev nailed it. The lack of the galaxy brain bullshit absolutely empowered a lot of these players. It gave us back a real identity in how we played. We weren't heliocentric around one player. Not to criticize that player, because, you know, when he came on into this 4-3-3 and he added a lot to it. He got 2 assists. Trent was very good. But in the galaxy brain system where everything gets funneled through him, we're asking too much of him. were relying on him and him alone to do all the creative stuff. I thought the midfield tonight were absolutely fantastic. Endo, I think, had his best game for us. Dominic, the first good game he's had in, 5-6 weeks. And again, it's not a surprise. Tactically, the shape suited him a lot more. He had two players behind him, giving him a platform to play off, allowing him to play as a right-sided 8 and a 10 at different times. And Curtis Jones was the best player on the pitch. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal from start to finish. Couple of loose passes, obviously. Everyone's going to have that. But you look at him, and I don't know how people don't see what he offers to this team in terms of ball retention, game intelligence, work rate, and most importantly, defensive acumen. He makes us so much stronger defensively with what he does, cutting off passing lanes, tracking runners, always knowing when to press and when not to press. And you compare that to the dross we've been seeing in that position for the last number of weeks. It's night and day. And that, as a result, sparks so much more. This was a team. This was a team effort. This was not a group of individuals trying to figure things out. I thought we were brilliant tonight. It's the best performance, in my opinion, along with the Villa performance at the start of this season. It's the best we've had since the 21-22 season, barring, of course, the 7-0 thumping of United last season, which was a lot of fun. But even that, I don't think we played as well that night as we did here. I thought tonight, we could have been 4 up at half time. But it seemed like in the first half, we thought we had to shoot from outside the box. And in the second half, we realised, we can actually go into the box, and then it opened up all the goals for us. So that was nice.
Yeah, absolutely was. It absolutely was. And we'll delve into some of the tactical decisions, etc., once we get across them. But Trev, coming to you, we'll start off with the teams. Obviously, you mentioned in your intro bit there, we did go strong. A bit of rotation, obviously bringing in Kwanzaa, probably the most youthful and inexperienced name there, but we rotate in the forward line a little bit, resting Mo, etc. And you mentioned Szoboszlai starting there, but we do go with Kelleher, Gomez, Kwanzaa, Van Dijk, Tsimikas, Szoboszlai, Endo, Jones, Elliott, Gakpo, Nunes. Just to make it clear, Nunes started on the left. That's probably the most interesting thing from this, Trev, because basically since the Newcastle game, that experiment seemingly died last season, but he was bloody excellent tonight starting on that left-hand side.
Yeah, I think we may have found a way for him to be in the team without it being necessarily all about how many goals he's contributing, because I do think he needs to be in the team, because on the basis of this evening alone, and I think most of the recent games, even though you might be disappointed by the finishing, there's a game involvement. And before the United game, there was a video going around. Actually, I think it might have been after the United game when it finally came out. There was a video going around of Klopp assessing what Darwin offers to the team. And listen, he's not reinventing the power of analysis when he says what he says in that interview. He talks about Darwin being incredibly lively, involved in everything, maybe not the assist, but the one before the assist and occasionally the assist itself. And tonight I thought he looked incredibly up for it, as he has done. I don't think there's any question about that. Anyone saying that is losing the plot completely. But there is still the nagging thing about the conversion of chances, and I made myself a bit of a hostage to fortune during the game by tweeting something along the lines of, regardless of what happens here, I think it was 1-0 at the time, this will only be a qualified success if we don't get Darwin among the goals. And I really, really meant that, because I thought this guy is absolutely central to how we're going to get on against Arsenal, and whether or not we are genuine title contenders, he needs to be scoring for that to be the case. I said it towards the end of the campaign, where Mo's form in terms of actual productivity and goals fell away. We needed him to be at his very, very best, Mo Salah. And that's what meant that we did not get those two big trophies over the line. It's simple as that. If you got a guy who's in super form, he can make all the difference to you. And Darwin, when he combines what he adds in general play, when he eventually combines that with finishing, and assuming he does, like, he is going to be a monster. And I just felt like we really needed that. But because we contributed goals from players who had their tails up and were so sprightly looking, like Curtis Jones, as Dave has mentioned, who was so good and so lively and productive, and Harvey Elliott I thought was fantastic tonight as well. In fact, it's hard to pick out someone who was less than good. So that to me just meant that we were perhaps able to not be as reliant as I was thinking initially on Darwin contributing, because in terms of goals, because when he's doing what he's doing tonight, he's a fucking nightmare guy for defence. They don't know what to do. And it was, again, because people love narratives, there was another narrative about Darwin is always offside. And I think the first two calls in the first half that were given against him were tight or wrong. And there was one late in the game where he could have delayed his run a little bit, which perhaps did show a slight little bit of insecurity. But then again, inexperience. But it's about the timing of the delivery of the pass too.
I thought Diaz should have passed earlier.
He should have. And Diaz is wildly off form, regardless of what anyone says. So is Nunez a better option than Diaz there? Fucking light years at the moment. It's not even close. It's not even close.
Yeah, fully agree. I fully agree with that. And here's the thing. People getting on Darwin's back for the lack of goals, fair. Like, it is fair. And we all agree he does need to score more goals because he's getting the opportunities. Last season, when he was getting a lot of criticism for not getting goals, he actually wasn't getting the chances. He was having to make a lot of them himself. This year, we are creating more from him. But what I would point out is that in less than 1,400 minutes across all competitions this season, Darwin Nunez now has 7 goals and 8 assists, which is 15 goal contributions, which if you divide 1,400 by 15 is 93.3 repeating, which is basically one a game. He is getting a goal or assist every single game. He is impacting winning in so many different ways. Look at the assist he gets against Sheffield United. I know we were already 1-up, and fair enough, but look at the way he works back to win that ball back and gets the ball in. Tonight he gets an assist. He's the type of player that, as opposed to an Erling Haaland, who only scores goals, and if he doesn't score goals, the likelihood is he contributes nothing. You very rarely get a game with Darwin where he contributes nothing, where he's a negative impact player. Now, I would say at the weekend against United, I would say he was a negative impact. I thought he was hopeless at the weekend. Tonight, despite not getting a goal, I thought he was very good. And he got an assist. He hit the post. Mo should have scored from the follow-up. And, you know, I agree with Trev. For now, I would be using him on the left. If they're going to play Cody through the middle, the only thing I would say is, aside from his goal, I thought Cody was the only player that was poor tonight. Like, we've talked about it before. He's 6'3". He plays like he's 5'3". And you've got Harvey Elliott, who's 5'7", and plays like he's 6'5". If you could just harness some of Harvey's fight and desire and get it into Cody tonight, like he doesn't impact games enough, but he got a goal tonight, and that's huge for him and huge for his confidence. So if we're going to line up at the weekend, I'm happy if it's Mo, Cody, Darwin. I'd be happier if it was Mo, Darwin, and Harvey on the left, and we could use Harvey in a similar way to how we used him tonight, where he's dropping back into midfield and he's moving central, and he's a constant movement, dragging a defender somewhere and creating big spaces for midfielders to move into. But I don't like a lot of the narrative that goes around Darwin, because I just think people try and boil it down to, well, he's only in the team to score goals. He's not. Look at Gabriel Jesus for Arsenal. Like, look how valuable he is and how much better they are when he's in their team. And he doesn't score a whole lot of goals. He doesn't score more than Darwin, for example. This season, he's also got 7 goals. But I guarantee you he's got 6 or 7 assists as well. Or he's got, like Klopp mentioned, the pass before the pass. He occupies defenders. He impacts winning. Darwin does it for us. It doesn't always look pretty with Darwin. sometimes he looks a little bit like his feet are new to him. Like he's woken up and they've put someone else's feet on and he's trying to figure out whose feet they are. But, it's very effective in his own way.
Yeah, it's just, as Trev will know, he messaged me asking about opinions on bedwetters after the weekend. I was one of said bedwetters. I was ready to give up on him. But there is something just really likeable about Darwin, and he is a really frustrating player at times, as you've both alluded to. But there is something unique you don't see in players, and he does care. We've bought players in the past, maybe not recently, who don't give a toss. But as you said, you mentioned Elliott. If you put Darwin in Gakpo as well, what a player that'd be. There's something there.
100%. If you combined Darwin's desire, work rate, impact on winning, and aggression and speed with Cody Gakpo's technical level,
you'd have 6'3" Sadio Mane.
You'd have like a Zlatan Ibrahimovic type of individual. You would have a very special player if you could merge them into one player.
Yeah. I think the only thing to say on Gakpo, I agree, I don't think he probably was the worst of the starters tonight. But he wasn't detrimental to our performance, whereas I think, unfortunately, with Diaz recently, he's just, whatever's obviously personal issues aside and stuff like that, but whenever he's played, it's just so one-paced, one-dimensional. He just cuts inside in a cul-de-sac and just loses the ball, whereas Gakpo, yeah, he doesn't get into the ball and he doesn't play to his height at times, but he's still part of the play. That's probably what I'd say compared to someone like Diaz, who he's probably battling for a spot with. Well, what do you reckon of that, Trev?
My take on that is very much the same as your own, in that I trust Cody more than I trust Luis Diaz at the moment. And all, whatever we need to say about extenuating circumstances aside, let's just talk about football. On a football basis only, Luis Diaz has been awful in terms of what he's contributing to the team, and that's just a fact. And in the recent weeks where you'd be expecting some sort of revitalized version of him, there's no evidence of that. And when you see him play for Colombia, it's a different thing. And so it's not just about the extenuating circumstances, because he was absolutely, I thought, certainly from the highlights I saw for Colombia, he was just outrageously good. And we know he has that in his locker, but it's not working playing in that position at the moment, or playing in this team at the moment for us. And so I don't think there'd be any harm in him being our fella that we introduce from the bench for a while, and let him understand that it's perhaps not an absolute nailed on shirt for him. And we're all a family and et cetera, but psychologically speaking, you can't be thinking that you're just going to be, you are the first team. And most of us have fallen into that trap, because Luis Diaz is an incredibly talented player and he should be very, very effective on that side for us. We've seen him do great things. You add what he's given to us over the piece of his career so far up, and I can see why occasionally I'd hear Dave on his show say, look, love Luis, but it probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if he did get his move to Barca or wherever, that being the most likely destination. And if we could get somebody who might be just that little bit more effective for us in that situation. And I know when Dave says that, it's like, it's also from the position of, I'd love Luis to stay and be tearing up trees on a weekly basis. That's where I am with it. But I also, as people will have noticed over the years, we on this show are kind of cool enough in our appraisal of things to say, I want what's best for a team and whatever leads to pots. And I'm not sure Luis Diaz is that for us at the moment, Guy.
This episode is brought to you by Google Pixel, the official fan phone of the NBA and WNBA. The new Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro are built different. How? Take the Audio Magic Eraser tool. It helps block out distracting crowd noise so your play-by-play commentary sounds crystal clear. The only phone engineered by Google brings out the audio you care about, so your videos sound as crisp as they look. Learn more at googlestore.com/pixelnba. Audio Magic Eraser requires Google Photos app. May not work on all audio elements.
Are you that person who has everything? the coolest merch, and those must-have fan threads? Well, over at our Anfield Index shop, we've gone that extra mile when it comes to pimping up your Liverpool collection. From our popular range of bespoke design t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies and hats, to our signature edition mugs, prints and coasters, all provided with fast worldwide shipping. We have something for every red. We also stock official LFC merchandise and are licensed with the Premier League and UEFA to sell official iron-on shirt badges and sleeve patches. As a listener to this podcast, you can get 10% off everything with coupon code AIPRO10. Just head over to AnfieldIndex.shop or find us on Etsy by searching for Anfield Index.
Yeah, that's the thing. That is the thing. The draw is happening right now, so I may break off and discuss that as live as possible. But We'll go through some of the early events, and then we'll talk. I'll probably bring up Elliott first, because I think he's worth discussion. So minute 3, Dom has a spank, hits Darwin. They just had to hit Darwin, didn't they? Darwin has a chance to run through on goal, but it's a very tight offside. I mean, I think Carragher mentioned it on commentary. You do miss VAR when it's not there, even though it's a horrendous process at the minute, but referees, I still don't trust them, even if they are doing the job properly. Elliott has a shot from the left-hand side just wide. Nice little run by Jones, who passes it to Dom, but I say leaves it to Elliott. I think he just screws up his touch and it falls to Elliott, who cuts in and shoots. Darwin again offside. Kwanzaa has a nice tackle. But this brings us up to the 20th minute. I'm just saying if we've drawn Middlesbrough in the cup. It's Middlesbrough-Chelsea, so we have Fulham in the semi-final, Dave. What's your live reaction to that?
I would have liked Chelsea. It was Chelsea that I wanted, because I feel like you'd rather play them over 2 legs. Just to give yourself that sort of bit of buffer. So look, realistically, Chelsea are going to beat Middlesbrough fairly comfortably. With all due respect, Middlesbrough are a mid-table championship side. So we'll get a repeat of the 21-22 League Cup final and FA Cup final, assuming
nil it is.
Assuming we beat Fulham, which we can't take for granted, but if we play like we did tonight, we'll absolutely wipe the floor with them.
And it's over 2 legs, isn't it? So we should get past Fulham, even though they have given us tough games in the recent time. Trev, your reaction to the draw? It's the Anfield leg first.
The Anfield leg first. That's what I was going to ask you. Look, do you know what? It's like everything else, and this is the best thing about this new iteration of Liverpool, is that we're back in the situation where, like it was before United, like it was before tonight, it doesn't matter really. On the balance of play, the 11 that go out for us lot with the liver bird in their chest should be better than almost every team they're going to beat, or every team they're going to face. And that's been the case this season, and it's been borne out by results. And in the case of Fulham, it will absolutely be the case again. And if we can't get over them over two legs, well, then you don't deserve to be in a final. Likely a final against Chelsea, as Dave says. It would be wonderful if some sort of further Pochettino misery could be heaped upon them, and we got Middlesbrough and they were very up for it in the final. If we got over, wouldn't it be nice? I guess what I'm saying, wouldn't it be nice if we could possibly have a Man City-esque route to winning a trophy, where for once a draw kind of ends up in our favour, as it always does in the most ridiculously weird way for them, and has done again the Champions League. So I'm indifferent as to who we play. I understand the point Dave's making. I really do, actually, and it makes perfect sense. That if you're going to have to face Chelsea, you'd rather do it over 2 legs, because there's something awry there, as we know, and you'd like to be able to take advantage of that. And I think we could and would take advantage of over 2 legs. But likely, we'd also be able to beat them in a final. So if it comes down to that, we get past Fulham, they get past Middlesbrough, I would be confident about us winning it again. And, I heard Dave speak about this on a show recently. We have a lot of shares in this trophy. And I was saying it before it became sort of popular to say recently amongst football pundits on the main channels. It is a platform. It is a springboard. It's a fact. That's what it does. And again, I heard Dave speaking about this in great detail on his show about how this is what this competition can be for you. It's like an affirmation early on in the season, like we had recently in 21-22, that, yeah, hey, we're fucking good enough. We lift trophies. That's what we do. And we could do with that going into a campaign where there are at least 2 other ones, if not 3, that are available to us, and 2 other ones where we have a decent shout. One of them being the main one for us this year, which is the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll get back into the game then. And Trev, I'll stick with you. My next note on the first 20-odd mins is this Elliott's best start of the season? Because we've all praised his impact from the bench this season. And I know it's tough when you have to start with a rotated team, and this team was slightly less rotated than some of the Europa League teams, to be fair. But we mentioned the big team performance, but is this his best start of this season?
Yeah, look, the fellow was fantastic tonight, and we've spoken a lot about what he can offer the team and where best. But the bottom line about Harvey is that he will always put in a massive shift. He is never one to hide. There was a lad who was absent from the 11 tonight, and I did really worry in the Manchester United game for the first time that I was seeing a player play for Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp who was looking to not be where the ball was. And I don't want to say it because I don't want to get into some sort of conversation about this particular player. I want to give everyone an opportunity to prove me wrong. That's some personal opinion I had, but Harvey Elliott is the exact opposite of that. Harvey wants the ball all the time, everywhere, under whatever circumstance you wish to fizz it into his feet. And he has remarkable technique. And he put basically all the various aspects of his game together today, put in some fantastic crosses. On another night has a goal or 2 for himself. And the only person that I would mention in this opening goings as well, just to spin the conversation, in another direction, if you want, if you're interested in taking it there, Guy, is I thought Tsimikas.
He's a backseat host, Trev. It's fair.
I'm a Sunday quarterback here. Is Tsimikas, because he's the guy I wanted to mention in the first 20 minutes, and his entire outing was great. And I was minor galaxy brain. Let's play Joe Gomez at left back, because I didn't trust Tsimikas to be the best version of himself. But he's getting back there, and I thought he was really dogged. I thought his technique was excellent. I thought his pace was really good. I thought his tackling was fantastic. And it's just lovely to see 2 lads like that, who the jury has been out on for a lot of people, in Harvey Elliott and in Kostas Tsimikas, put in a pair of really solid shifts, epitomised by the first 20 minutes, but carried on throughout, I thought.
Can I just jump in on those 2, Trev, very quickly? Number one, why is there a jury even being put together on Harvey Elliott? The kid is 20. What world are we living in that we have to rush to judgment on a 20-year-old? Like, give the kid time. I understand that because Jurgen talks him up and Linders talks him up and he plays a lot, the feeling is, well, we have to know exactly what he is right now. Let the kid have his time. Like, I thought tonight was the best start he's had in a Liverpool shirt. He's had some brilliant sub-appearances. He's had some other very good starts, not so much this season, but obviously in past seasons. But tonight, I thought, in that right-sided forward role, with freedom to drop into midfield, and at times him and Dominic were almost like twin attacking midfielders, and Darwin was shifting over behind Cody. And I thought, this looks so much better for him than when we tried to use him in that old Henderson role. So the jury shouldn't have even been called to order on him. And I don't think it should be on Kostas either. But you are right. Like, with Kostas, we didn't know if we could trust him, because he'd come into the team to replace Robbo, and without question, he stank the place out for weeks. So the Joe Gomez idea was not without merit, because Kostas was not showing he warranted a start. But I think in the last 4 to 5 weeks, he really has come into his own, and he's putting in very strong performances. Like you said, he's showing going forward what he's capable of. Defensively, there's an aggression to him that we hadn't seen previously. It's almost a little bit Robbo-esque in how he's snapping into challenges and nipping at heels and stuff. He made one, now it was his own fault because he kind of caused the breakdown, but he made one brilliant sprint back to get in front of Bowen and then showed great composure to deal with it properly and be able to play out from the back and not just hump it clear. I thought you nailed it. Harvey and Costas, from word go today, those two boys were bang up for this game. And I thought they both put in excellent showings. And the only gripe I had with Costas was there was one brilliant Jarrell Quansah ball from right side centre back across that had this lovely bend and dip on it.
Yeah.
Right into Costas's path. And I think Costas was like, oh, this is the perfect ball. What am I going to do with it next? And he lost his focus on the ball and he ended up letting it run out of play. Other than that, I genuinely thought he was tremendous today.
Yeah, he really was. I actually hadn't noted him down, but he was really good. And there was that big moment in the start of the second half where he blocks that Bowen pass across the box. It's really good defending. I remember when Robbo got injured at the time, and I think we were doing the main pod, Trev, and we were discussing it. It was like, Tsimikas wasn't the same as that point where he got his first run in the team when Robbo got injured, but I think we all agreed as long as he gets a run, he'll become fine. It may have taken slightly longer than anyone thought, but he is a really good squad player. It's just probably a shame he's been behind the Iron Man left back who rarely gets injury, and when he really does, it is a big one. So as long as he gets runs in the team, I think he's really reliable. It's just a shame for him personally that it's behind Robertson, who's probably been the best left back in the world on and off for the last 5 to 7 odd years or however long it's been. But yeah, on Elliott, Trev, the only question mark is how the hell do we get him in the team? Because he's obviously playing Mo's position today, and Mo only misses games that start with League Cup.
That's very true. But there's also probably a reality where we could find ourselves, depending on whether or not the sharp end contribution in terms of goals on the sheet, we could find ourselves in a situation where Mo might move to that central role, or where Mo might be a little bit playing off someone.
Plus AFCON's in a month as well.
AFCON is the thing, yeah. Like Mo's gone for 4 games, is it? So I think the obvious one, lads, is just play him on the left. Just put Harvey on the left and give him some freedom.
In fairness, we've already talked, lads, on this show, the three of us, at various points on different shows, about how that's just makes nothing but sense and how we just love to see it. But when he's as good as he is in Mo's position today, and I mean, like, there's a really astute pullback by Harvey on 21 minutes for Curtis Jones, and it's the kind of thing that you can only do if you're really self-possessed on the ball. I love the shape of that lad on the ball. I don't know how to explain it better than that, but from coaching fellas over years, that's the way I kind of describe it. It's the way that you set yourself up when you receive the ball, and the shape that you have when you're playing it. It's protective. You're ensuring that you use the best part of your foot. Thiago does this really fluidly at pace, but some other players, Curtis Jones is one and Harvey Elliott's another, you can see as they set themselves that they're trying to do it to make the best possible contact with the ball. And I really, really enjoyed that little pullback. I think there's an awful lot to Harvey's game. So say Mo is gone, Harvey can be our fill in there. And here's the thing, it mightn't even work out as all that much of a drop off in terms of goal contributions, because if he doesn't score as many as Mo, he might create as many. He has that in his locker, and if we're playing a fit and firing midfield, it's exciting to see Endo be able to do that role for us. And if we've got Curtis and Dom, and who knows when Alexis is back, as our in form eights, That's perfect. That's a perfect situation to play Harvey there and whoever else on the other two roles. But I, again, to take it full circle back to what Dave said there, Guy, I would love to see Harvey just for one game on that left side to see what that looks like, because I think it might be kind of scary.
Left-footed left wingers are so 2000s, lads. Iron Robin ruined that, lads. Get with it. No, I've always been a fan of Harvey. He was even my Twitter name for a little while. It's just, it is weird because he has been, I think, post Blackburn loan, the expectations have skyrocketed, didn't they? And he had that long injury. But if he's going to find his feet this way, and as we mentioned, AFCON next month, he should be the first and probably last name, unless Jota's. I've never liked Jota on the right. Screw it. Harvey Elliott is the first name to replace Mo for that month. It should be the only name, to be honest. But let's get back into the game because we're nearing the first goal. Where were we? Assistant's blind, missed the corner. Yep, Gomez was baffled by that. Assistant referees are no good. Nice play by Darwin and Elliott on the left. The Elliott free roll was just really interesting. But Dave, coming to you, I mean, the first goal by Dom, it's a fantastic finish, but I'm sure you want to talk about Kwanzaa as well. So talk to me about the goal itself, but the role Kwanzaa plays and his performance overall, because I mentioned he was the youthful one in the team, because maybe we could have had a Chambers or a Bradley starting, etc. But do we even call Kwanzaa one of the youthful ones now? Because I know he wasn't great for their goal, but he's not looked out of place once this season.
No, he doesn't look out of place at all. I thought tonight he was excellent. I thought having Gomez at right back helped him because you've got the pace of Gomez and the pace of Virgil either side of him. It was notable that we swapped Kwanzaa when Ibu came on, and then we swapped Gomez, which was clearly pre-planned because Costas was going to go off. So again, you had Ibu's pace and Gomez's pace. So I think they are aware that the one flaw with Gerald for now is that on the turn, he is slow. That first yard or two on the turn is a major concern. But when the game's in front of him, he is absolutely outstanding. Great in the air, so comfortable on the ball. Made one great challenge on the edge of our box tonight as well. In that first half, as they were trying to break, he just stepped in, crunched the tackle, won the ball cleanly, and away we go the other way. Everything about his performance tonight was great. Like his anticipation and knowing when to try for the interception, knowing when to try and get in front and just nick that ball away because the striker's going to be on his heels waiting for the ball to come to him. If you can get in first and power away, you're going to be moving into some space. And then, like, for a 20-year-old centre-back to have the decision-making and the composure that he does as he steps forward is very, very rare. And like you say, he had a part in that first goal. I think when we look back on this season, he is going to be one of the biggest bright spots, no matter what happens between now and the end of the season. Because, like, let's be fair, he was playing in League One last season under Joey Barton. You know, so you weren't exactly hoping that this kid was going to be able to step up. Now, I watched him twice for Bristol, and to his credit, he did look head and shoulders above the level of competition. But League One is League One. The Premier League, and look, I know it's the Cup tonight, but West Ham are a good Premier League team. The step up is significant, and he stepped up for league games for us. He stepped up in a big cup game tonight, and he just looks like he's been at it for years. If you told me he was 24, if I didn't know anything about him and you told me he was 24 and had 200 games under his belt, I'd absolutely believe you. Because nothing phases him. He doesn't get... Like, remember we threw him on against Newcastle in a lunatic situation, and he was absolutely at home. No problem.
Can I just jump in as well here? Because the only black spot on Kwanzaa's night by some people, or as perceived by some people, will be around the concession of the goal that we'll talk about later on. But I'm going to flag it up here early. I don't think he did anything wrong there, because I thought he actually made, if you just look at his footwork, I thought it was really clever. And I think he got into exactly the right position to put the player onto his wrong foot. He just happens to hit a worldy finish. So I don't really blame him on the concession of the goal at all, to be honest. And he has so much about him. Just to echo what you two are saying, he is, he's almost like what Alan Hansen and the lads used to describe as a fella who's got a cigar on. He's a stroller.
Cigar and slippers, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that in the best possible sense. He is unruffled. And that's why I wanted to mention that apparent mistake as well, because I don't think it necessarily was. Obviously you'd love him to stop the shot, but I thought the adjustment that he made in his steps to put himself on the right side, you know, from the point of the
it's Jared Bourne as well. It's not exactly me from the park, is it?
Yeah, exactly. And from the point of the manual, I think he does okay. But anyway, that's just by the way.
Yeah, and plus he has an elite mentality by his description of praising Joel.
That's so funny. That's so funny what he said about Joel. Like, obviously there's no malice in what he said, nothing bad in what he said. But just the way it comes across, it's so like really calculated, as if to say, like, I put that banana skin under his foot. I stitched it into his boot myself, because I wanted his spot in the team. Brilliant, absolutely.
I fucking love that. I love it.
Yeah, so do I. But that's what these like. I keep hearing people say, "Oh, we shouldn't sign such and such because they'll block the path of this young player." If the young players want to get in the team, go and fucking earn it, lads.
Yeah.
Don't sit there waiting for it to be handed to you, because that's not how this club runs.
No, it's not.
You go when you take that spot.
It's the Klopp hugs and participation medal fuckers that I can't get my head around these days at all. Like, I mean, you have to be a killer to succeed.
Yeah.
You have to be.
Yeah.
He just said the quiet part out loud. Fair play to him.
Well, imagine what the quiet part was, Christ. Dave, coming to you, I mean, Dom, the finish, it's fantastic. But a word on his overall performance as well. We kind of alluded to it in the team sheet part, and I just realised I didn't do the West Ham bit. Who cares? It's only West Ham. But Dave, Dom overall, like the impact of, how do I word this? Not having to play right back, right wing, and centre midfield really let him play his position properly.
Yeah, because, you know, he needs to be the attacking one in the midfield. He needs to be the one that's allowed have a bit of freedom. He needs to be the one that's allowed take some risks. He can't be expected to just be some sort of ball-winning grok who's in there just for physicality. Yeah, he's not in there to do that. Like, it's not what he does. But when he plays with a certain midfielder that Trev alluded to earlier on, he has to do that because that other fella is bone idle and doesn't work for the team. But tonight, you see Curtis Jones come in, work his ass off, put in a brilliant performance. Endo puts in an excellent performance. And the two of them, and the fact that Trent is not constantly in midfield taking the ball off people, because this is what they've been instructed to do, is run everything through Trent. Now it was run everything through Dom. Let Dom be the guy making that ball into the final third. And he was brilliant tonight. It's absolutely brilliant. That's the best performance we've seen in weeks and weeks from him. And the goal, I mean, it's a stunner. It's an absolute stunner. It's KDB, it's Gerrard, it's that ilk of player who can do that from there. And this kid just doesn't score, you know, doesn't do your tap-ins. Even the tap-in he scored against Sheffield United, it was still an outrageous first touch, and he still blammed it in the top bin because that's what Dominic Szoboszlai does. He makes everything look absolute worldy. He's a top player, and we're very, very fortunate to have him at the club. And I think the more we use him like we did tonight, the more we will see what that guy is capable of.
Reboot your credit card with Apple Card, the credit card created by Apple. It gives you unlimited daily cash back that you can now choose to grow in a high-yield savings account that's built right into the Wallet app. Apply for Apple Card now in the Wallet app on iPhone and start growing your daily cash with savings today. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility requirements. Savings accounts provided by Goldman Sachs Bank USA. Member FDIC. Terms apply.
Hello, I'm here to annoy you. I'm here to annoy you into listening to more of me and more of others on EPL Index. We don't just have the Anfield Index stuff. We've got EPL Index as well, which covers the entirety of the Premier League. And we have 3 podcasts and a whole bunch of really good writing on EPLindex.com. The podcasts are my own two-footed podcast, which is every day at 4 p.m, Monday through Friday, covering the whole league. We have A Tad Predictable, hosted by Tadiwa. You know Tadiwa, he does Anfield Index. He presents A Tad Predictable before every Premier League match week. And then Kevin DeVries and his crew on the EPL Roundtable, they're every week after the Premier League match week. So make sure you listen to everything we're doing on EPL Index and follow us there on Twitter at EPL Index. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, absolutely. But the most important thing of the first half, and coming to you, Trev, as the resident hat expert on AI, David Moyes. It's a fantastic hat.
Yeah, you see, there's ways to wear a hat, depending on your hat of choice. If you're going to wear a beanie, which is my usual September to March headwear, you've got to have a bit about you. There's a way to wear a beanie that makes you look as if you should probably approach people with kindness and see if they'll throw you a few shekels. David Moyes wears his hat in that fashion. I saw some very amusing images put up by Dave on Twitter where he was comparing contrasting him to the destitute drunk era Phil Mitchell, and I actually, there's probably no more opposite comparison. He did look, do you know, it was the perfect look for him tonight, because the commentator's narrative on Sky was about how poor old West Ham and David Moyes can't catch a break here. They have a shit time in Anfield, which is the kind of thing, of course, we love and revel in, not necessarily because it's David Moyes or any of that thing, or the United thing that he has, or the Everton thing that he has, or the wonderful Taft's Tavern thing that we keep alluding to. It's nothing to do with that. I got a little bit of a different take on Moisey because chatting to Jan on the pod, and he said, do you know what, he's actually a good lad and he really knows his football. And I think the European trophy from last season is a real testament to that. And I very much take my hat off to him, but my hat's much better than his fucking hat.
Do you know, I was a little bit worried about this game because obviously we've been so poor in recent weeks and the performance has just been so bad. Like, the results obviously were pretty good, but the performance has just been so bad. And then about an hour before kickoff, I remembered it's David Moyes coming to Anfield. Yeah. He's generally atrocious when he brings a team to Anfield, but they did win a trophy last year, and Moyes, of course, became a winner by proving you don't actually need trophies to be a winner, but he is a winner. So I was confused. Now he had a trophy. Was he still a winner? Was he more of a winner? Was he a super winner, an uber winner? What kind of winner was he? And then I saw he was the winner of the Phil Mitchell Halloween lookalike competition, who was deciding to run with it for Christmas as well. Absolutely fantastic. The pasty face, the red eyes, the hat pulled down, the miserable look. It was prime Phil Mitchell. And congrats to David Moyes on that. What an achievement that must be for him. But yeah, just someone get him Damo, if you hear this, I know you're in Mexico, but I know you've got a bunch of fedoras up in the attic. If you can send one across, David Moyes, care of West Ham Football Club. Fantastic.
The only thing that's going to make fucking Moisey look more ridiculous on the sideline than his shit beanie is a fucking fedora, man. But he's not Malcolm Allison in the 70s.
But Trev, it's not about how he looks. It's about how much we can laugh.
This is very true. And by the way, certain lads, such as the aforementioned Damo, can carry it off, but with a match coat on the sideline, no.
He definitely need to get himself to a good tailor. But like, you live in London, there's plenty of good tailors. Bring the hat down and tell them to create you an ensemble to go with the hat. Get yourself a nice sunbed. You don't need to be translucent. It's not a natural skin colour. I know you're Scottish, but it's not a natural skin colour. Some Scottish people have some pigmentation. Get yourself down to Savile Row, get a nice suit, maybe get yourself a neckerchief or something, put your fedora on and go and tell them that your name is something else. Like, one of the reasons he might be getting let go by West Ham at the end of the season is because he's a little bit boring and they want more fun. They want more of a journey. Tell them you've decided to change things up. You're not going to be David Moyes anymore. You're going to be David Moyes, and you're just going to start speaking with a queer accent. Maybe ring Joey Barton. He's got nothing else he's doing at the moment. He should
get Jason Tyndall in as a style guru.
Jason Tyndall in, but Jason Tyndall also will take the focus from the camera, so you can just work in the background, do your thing, and Jason Tyndall be out there shaking hands.
Hey, we had a Johnny Heitinga sighting today.
We did. That was great.
Very confused. He just looked lost on the bench.
Like on the commentator just went, he managed Ajax this season. It was like, great stuff, lads. I've got a dream scenario for Dave. Brendan sacked at Celtic. Moyes pops out. Celtic.
I'd much rather Moyes than Brendan. It's not even a competition. Moyes is a significantly better manager than Brendan Rodgers.
Moyes would clean up at Celtic.
Yeah, he's winning the treble every year up there. Yeah. No question. Anyway, we should probably get back to the game.
Yeah, we only have the 5 more goals to talk about. So. The first half ends. The only other thing of note, really, is the Gakpo headed chance just at the death of the half. He should score. We've kind of discussed Gakpo. We'll talk about when he does actually score. It was a lovely cross by Elliott, I should add. On to the second half. We start off quite well. We have an early corner. Nice sustained play. We kind of just keep them penned in, which was basically the story of the first half. Darwin has a nice little turn in the box and forces a save from Areola. First time West Ham really do anything is the 50th minute. Then Alvarez has a heavy tackle. I think it was on Gomez, if I remember correctly.
Harvey,
was it Harvey? Yeah, okay. Yes, it was. Then they have that chance I mentioned earlier, which Tsimikas defended really well, where Bowen's through on the counter-attack. But Trev, coming to you, Jones gets his first goal of the day. It's a lovely ball by Darwin. The keeper should do better, but that's for the West Ham podcast to discuss. It's a lovely finish and it's a lovely pass by Darwin.
It is, and the Uruguayan lad did brilliantly at the start of the second half. There was that drag back on 48 minutes and the left-footed dig. It got touched over the top. That was great. And then he starts a move on 49 with a great foot in, where Curtis ends up kind of dragging a shot across the face of goal, with his left foot. But here, Darwin's involved with the assist, basically. It's a lovely move, and then there's a kind of lovely ball around the corner by Darwin where he plays in Curtis. Now, to be fair, Curtis Jones has no angle here, so you can see him glance up. There's no fucker inside him. So what he does in the spur of the moment, using that game intelligence cited by Dave before, was hit this sort of little bobbler in between the legs of the keeper, and into the back of the net. Now, there are a million ways and a million times and a million versions of that where it basically just hits the keeper. And you could say that he doesn't make the cleanest connection in the world. But then again, like I said to you before, I think he does everything in a very deliberate way. And it was a very deliberate attempt to put the ball where he wanted to put it. So I'm giving him full credit for this. Not only for being involved in the move, Darwin's nice ball, reverse ball to him, him finding himself in this situation with a shit angle where he manages to convert. I think it's all deliberate. I've nothing but praise for this lad, and his contribution to it. And I just wanted to wreck that Darwin had been very, very involved in the opening minutes and looked bright. And there he is with that key pass that leads to Curtis's goal as well. So yeah, it's a very satisfying guy in so many levels.
Absolutely. Dave, I'll come back to Jones for you on his next goal. They bring on Paqueta, who's probably their best player. To be fair, straight after the goal, then a few minutes later, we make our subs with Endo, Dom, Van Dijk coming off, and Trent, Salah, and Ibu coming on. Then my next note is I forgot to make notes for 10 minutes. So if anyone's got anything noted down between 59 and 68, crack on.
Did you get the subs?
Yeah, I've got our subs, and then I've got on to the next one is Bradley comes on 10 minutes later. So if anything happens, let me know. Dave, coming to you. I mean, Gakpo's goal, it's a lovely finish, and we did mention his lack of forcefulness at times, but when he does get in positions of scoring, he has lovely technique and lovely finish, and it is annoying about the lack of aggressiveness. That's not a word. But technically, Gakpo's brilliant, Dave, and that finish shows it.
That's the thing. Like, there was moments in the first half when I think he's lacking confidence at the moment, because there was moments in the first half when his touch lets him down. Like, in the game today, he only attempts 15 passes and completes 12 of them. He gave the ball away 6 times. That's quite poor to only complete 12 passes and give the ball away 6 times, given he played so much. But there are then those flashes where you see the technical ability. And you look at it in wonder, because he's that tall, he's got that soft a touch. It's really, really promising. It shows what he is capable of. That goal is just a fantastic hit. Like, I genuinely thought he was really poor up until that point. But you could almost, like, he was almost walking taller after the goal as well. And he was chasing things down. He was trying to be a bit more involved. The goal, it's an outstanding goal. The best part of the second half to this point is Jamie Carragher getting more and more excited about the impending arrival of Paqueta, who's warming up before we score the second goal. That he takes the training top off, and he's got the bib on over the jersey, and he's doing a stretch, and Carragher and the main commentator are getting very, very excited here. Because now it's going to be a game. West Ham have been really poor. Now it's going to be a game. And then we score, and then Paqueta comes on and doesn't really touch the ball for about 15 minutes. And by the time he does, we're 3-1 up. Or 3-0 up. So, that, I very much enjoyed the Carragher-ness of that period of the game.
I do not enjoy him I know you're not too fond of him as a pundit, but as a commentator, it's not for me. But I do like him as a pundit. Trev, I forgot to mention Ibu's adventure before the goal. Lovely ode to the injured Joel Matip, thanks to Kwanzaa. That goal for you, Ibu's adventure and the Gakpo finish.
Yeah, to be fair, it's a bit of a fortunate adventure, because it's a heavy touch, and he gets the fortune of the ball breaking into space with no West Ham person near. It's not like his intent wasn't there. It's not like his ability to carry the ball forward isn't excellent. It's not like his pass wasn't brilliant, but there was that little bit of fortune to it. But the thing about Cody is, I'd agree with you in terms of, I think he is a technically excellent footballer, and I did see enough from him in terms of taking the ball in and recycling it, that the goal plus that and the big run out might be enough to make him a valuable starter against Arsenal. And let's not underestimate the goal itself, because his finish is so deliberate. It's beautiful. Like, there's a lot of really good goals in this game, lads. There's a lot of really well taken goals. Now, West Ham have themselves to blame for not stopping Ibu's sort of meander through their defence. Our midfield area and early part of the defence. And when he plays the ball into Cody can drift from left to right, virtually unchallenged. He basically goes past 2 of them, and that finish that he hits is so deliberately hit. It's so perfect. It's such great placement for a striker with the right amount of venom, that I think that's the kind of thing, we all had it when we played whatever level we played, where you go, well, that's actually, that's invigorating in a real sense. And at the very top level, those things matter, especially if you've got someone at the moment like Darwin where that's not happening for him. if we can get Cody into a run of games where he can manage to do the Jota thing of maybe not being fantastic, but getting that vital goal or two in a game, I'll take that until Jota's back in the mix again and Luis Diaz is back fit and firing again properly and contributing and scoring goals, and Darwin has finally kicked into his ability. And we
sign our annual left winger in January.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, I've come round fully on that. Someone wants to do that, let's do it. But that's beside the point. But yeah, it was a beautifully taken goal, and I think, like I said, just to give the kid his due, there was enough about him overall that it wasn't a great outing by him, but there was enough about him in terms of his taking the ball in and his ability to either draw the foul or lay it off. That means, that's all you kind of really want from that number 9 if they're scoring goals as well. So I will take that kind of thing. Little word for Bradley here as well. Bradley comes on, and his very first interaction is a great touch for Mo Salah, who skies a kind of wild half volley off the target at the near post. But compared to what Bradley had in his last game to deal with, I was delighted for him. You got to come on in this kind of heightened atmosphere and be part of something really good. And his first touch was really good. And these things, like Cody scoring, they matter, Guy.
They absolutely do. They absolutely do. Dave, just to go with you quickly, they do obviously get a goal, and I did discuss it with Trev earlier. It's probably just offside in a VAR world, maybe, but that was an issue all night with the assistant. It would have been tight anyway. We don't really press the long ball. Kwanzaa just gets in a duel with Bowen, and he just falls to Bowen's right foot when they tackle each other. But it's a nice finish from Jared.
Yeah, look, like Trev said, I mean, in the first instance, I think Kwanzaa does really well to force him onto his weaker right foot. I think his positioning is really good, and he does go at it from the right angle. It's just the issue when he turns and he can't quite get across to make the block. That's the only knock I'd have on Jarrell for that. But the shot, it's an outrageous goal, in fairness, by Jared Bowen, who is in really good form and is playing very, very well through the middle this season. Which, it's no surprise that West Ham look a better team with him up front rather than Mikel Antonio, who, let's be honest, he's 40% footballer, 60% bodybuilder at this point, and he doesn't really offer anything if he can't score a goal because he can't really run anymore without getting injured. So I thought Bowen took the goal very, very well, but I think it also speaks to how well Kwanzaa and Virgil and Ibu played, that he didn't really have a kick other than that. Aside from that, Bowen wasn't in the game. We just took him out of it altogether. So,
lads, can we just say, sorry to cut across you, Dave, can we just say how fucking amazing it is to see Virgil being at his very best again?
Yeah.
He was absolutely imperious again tonight. I mean, on a level where you're just looking at this guy go, he's not playing the same game as the rest of the...
No, that's it. You're looking at him and you're thinking, no centre-back in the world is capable of this, and only a handful ever have been. And I mean a handful. 3 or 4 ever have been on the level he's on now.
It's so good.
It's unbelievable. And it's every aspect. And when I hear stupid people like Darren Huckerby try and put Rio Ferdinand on that level, Rio was a good centre-back. He was never world class. He was never the best on the planet. He was never even the best in the Premier League. Virgil outdoes all of them in every aspect. You want to compare him to the John Terrys and Rio Ferdinands of this world, you be my guest. They can't do anything better than he does. And he does things they're not capable of doing. Like Rio was good on the ball and was quick and was good in the air, but he wasn't a particularly good 1v1 defender. Virgil's unbelievable 1v1. Rio didn't read the game the way Virgil does.
We need 2 more major pots for him, man.
Yeah.
For him to be unassailable at the top, because they can always say, get out your medals. And listen, nobody can argue with that shit. It's a very, very viable argument. If we can get another league, I agree. Listen, I know where you're going with this, but it's the kind of thing that shuts down arguments. But this way,
oh yeah, if we win another league or another
league and another Champions League, that's it. He is the best.
It's
ever.
over.
Unbelievable. Just shut up, go away, go home. Have a word with Franco Baresi. He'll tell you. Do you know what I mean? It's game over.
That's the thing. Like, people are too quick to try and judge players on team success. You know, like, if that's the case, then Sergio Ramos is the greatest defender who's ever lived. And I mean, Sergio Ramos was never a particularly great defender. He's just a very good footballer and a great leader, and he would score in big moments and whatever. But as a defender, Sergio Ramos isn't fit to make Virgil van Dijk a sandwich, let alone be compared to him as a defender. Virgil is one of the best there's ever been. And I will maintain that the greatest season any centre-back has had in the time I have watched football and been able to watch back. So you look at a heavy stream of the 80s, obviously everything in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, but a heavy stream of the 80s on rewatches, a good stream of the 70s on rewatches. No one has ever been on the level he was in 18-19. That's the best season any centre-back ever had, ever. And you can argue with a wall on that. He was unbelievable. The following season, 21-22, in this season, I still think he might be the best centre-back that's ever lived. I still think he might be. I will always say that Baresi's the greatest because of longevity from like 80 to 96 as a world-class defender is unreal. But what Virgil does at this level, I just don't think anyone's ever been capable of doing everything he does. Like, some will have the defensive side, but they can't pass like he does. Some could pass like he does and maybe defend nearly as well, but then they're not as dominant in the air as he is. And they don't have that recovery pace like he has. Like, there's no flaw. Like, with most players, you can pull at a string, you know? You can go, oh, there's a loose thread here. We'll pull at this and we'll see what we can open up and how we can kind of find a flaw. And there's none of that with Virgil. None. He's unbelievable at everything. And tonight he was brilliant.
And how many teams have played in a high? Basically, our whole defensive system is play the highest line possible, and it was literal perfection for 2.5 years
because of him.
Yeah,
like, this is why everybody can argue about, you know, look, Mo and Alisson are two of the best players we've ever had, certainly the best we've ever had in their positions, to the best the Premier League has seen in their positions, and yada, 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 etc., etc. Virgil van Dijk is the most important player to Liverpool and has been since the day he arrived. He is the ceiling raiser of this team. With him, fit and at his best, we are a title contender. Without him, we're not. It's as simple as that. Now, you can maybe make the case about Alisson, but I would argue you could put in a very good goalkeeper and we could still be a title contender. I would argue you put in Jarrod Bowen instead of Mo. We're still a contender. Maybe not a winner, but a contender. But without Virgil, we've got no hope. You could put in any defender instead of Virgil and we've got no hope. You put in fucking John Terry or Rio Ferdinand and we don't have a chance. Not a chance. We might finish third if we're lucky. He's that good. He's that level.
Tired of ads interrupting your favorite show? Good news. Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Download the Amazon Music app or visit amazon.com/ad-free sports. That's amazon.com/ad-free sports to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads. Enjoy thousands of Acast shows ad-free for Prime members. Some shows may have ads.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes, and games consoles. Visit libertyshield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is we've gone back to the stage where I didn't even note him down. It's just what I expect of him. And that's what it was 18-19. We obviously wanted to pick him up because he was our most important player, but now you just go, well, he's that good. No point talking about it. We'd have a 20-minute segment every week talking about how good Van Dijk is. People get bored, except Dave. But we'll get back to the game because, I mean, Van Dijk, it's almost boring how good he is. Like, it's unfair for other teams at times. My next note is literally Mo, mate, because he missed an open goal, Trev. But it is a lovely shot by a cut-in and shot from Darwin. Mo, I guess he's not used to being a substitute because he looked very wrong when he came on, apart from his goal.
He really did. I said to you guys before we started that his performance was what we would term in this neck of the woods wagon. He was absolutely mostly appalling. And that attempt you're talking about where Darwin cuts in on 80 minutes and he blasts an absolute belter of a shot to the right hand post via the keeper's glove, I think, if we're being honest. Mm-hmm. And what happens is it pops back to Mo. He's in the central area, sort of 6 yard-ish, and he stabs at it with his strong foot. Like, this is the thing about it. We've seen this guy so many times improvise with his strong foot to make whatever connection is necessary to just get the ball in the fucking goal. And how it didn't end up in the net is remarkable. He was disgusted with himself. But and I'm sure you wanted me to go on to what happens a minute later, which is where he actually does score. This time it's Trent plays the ball through to him, releases him in on the keeper, and he finishes with just that certainty and certitude and skill and aplomb that we associate with Mo Salah. But I think I'm right in saying that that's the only thing that he did in his contribution to the game that was any good. And we've seen this from Mo recently, and there's no point in trying to hide from it. We've seen Mo have absolute stinkers, but he's still keeping his numbers up. And nobody gives a shit if he's doing that, because that's what wins games and that's what wins titles and that's what wins cups. But, I guess it's sort of eminently frustrating because you know that on any given day, he is the best footballer in that stadium. And you just want to see him do all the things that he can do. We've seen them so many times. We've been spoiled by it. And I think it's a little bit like you were saying, Guy, about the Virgil thing. We have our expectations on such a fucking sky high monumental level. Like, the goals against City, the goal against Watford, we see this guy do things that no other human can currently do, with the exception possibly of Messi at the time. And now currently I think he's on his own sort of a level. I really genuinely do. And then, we get a bit worn down by Mo cuts in and Mo curls it into the keeper's hands. Mo cuts in and Mo curls it into the keeper's hands. And and the pass is almost there. But he has got this constant involvement. A little bit, if you like we were talking about where we were delighted with it with Harvey Elliott. Mo doesn't hide. This is what you have to say about this fella. He does not hide. If he's having a shit afternoon, he's having a shit afternoon, but he will never go missing. And when you combine that with the fact that he is nominally the best footballer in any given stadium at any given time, then you have a wonderful weapon that absolutely dovetails beautifully with Virgil at the far end, Ali and Sticks, and whoever else we happen to have playing up to their proper potential. And it makes us always likely to win a game, and the way that he finished that goal was fantastic. I'm delighted for him, Guy, because on a simple level, we've always said this on this show, this guy is possessed of an ego that is probably unrivaled in the Liverpool sphere. Now, he manages to carry it in a way where he's such a nice lad and he's so affable and he's so good with people that it's not really a factor in terms of ever pushing him into the dickhead corner when the dickhead test comes around. but it's fucking central to Mo Salah, and Mo Salah's attainment is his ego. He believes he is the best, and he needs constant affirmation of that. So when Mo scores a goal, you should be celebrating, whether it's the 4th or the 5th or the 89th, it doesn't matter. He has scored a goal, so he goes into the next game, which just happens to be a big title kind of doozy against Arsenal, with his tail up.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think it's just about getting more involved, because we've mentioned or alluded to the tactics and throughout this podcast, and we mentioned the impact it had on Dom, on Elliott, on basically everyone. And I think Mo has been a victim of that as well, because how deep have we been seeing Mo pick up? Like, we've been seeing him pick up the ball in right back in times.
Yeah.
I don't think Mo went in our half once in his first few years in the season. Don't want him there. I want him on the edge of the box, ready to combine with lads. It just seems the later it's gone in with Liverpool career, we've pushed him further to being a fucking assistant referee. It's just annoying. Get him close to the goal and he'll do shit like that. That's probably the first. I know it was a very stretched game and their centre-back won on an adventure, but how often do we get more clear-cut chance nowadays? Every time it seems to be some scrappy thing, or Darwin 50p's a header that falls to him, which that's the Luton one. He should have scored it, obviously, but Mo never seems to get a clean chance anymore. It's always something that's fell to him, because he's now, with Trent playing in midfield, he's the creative hub in that final third. Someone's got to put a shot on the plate for him.
I said this last season, I'm going to say it again. I don't like the Galaxy Brain system for Mo at all. I don't care if he's still getting his numbers. He gets his numbers because he's one of the greatest players to ever play the game. It's not because the system is empowering him. If anything, it's holding him back. It's playing him too wide. It's forcing him to do too much. It's asking too much from him defensively. It's not getting the most out of him. Where we can get the most out of Mo is by allowing him to play a little bit narrower, closer to goal, closer to the penalty box. And like you said, Guy, combining with players, combining with a rampaging Dominic coming from midfield, combining with an overlapping Trent Alexander-Arnold from right back, or Joe Gomez even from right back, combining with a number 9 who he's not 30 yards away from to begin the move. We need to get him closer to goal. And when he came on tonight, obviously did come on through the middle, and he should have got 2 goals. As badly as he played, he should have got 2 goals because he's a great player. He doesn't. The thing with him is he doesn't need to play well to score. Now, admittedly, he'd been shite in the previous few games, but he did
even in the United game. He did improve when we put him closer to the goal.
Of course he did, because he's more comfortable, he's happier, and that's where he wants to play. And if I was him, I'd be going telling Jurgen, listen, if you want me to stay at this club, you play me more central. I don't want to play as an assistant referee. I don't want chalk on my fucking boots. Have you seen these boots? These are expensive boots. Your assistant manager and his Galaxy Brain couldn't afford these boots. So put me back where I was, put me where I belong, and let's go and win some major trophies and not try and be, I don't know, whatever, a fucking Man City tribute act.
Yeah. We do have one more goal to talk about and finish up with the discussion around Curtis Jones. My only note after that is Darwin switching music someone, so I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic. But Dave, I did want to give you a chance to speak about Jones. I mean, the goal itself, it's a fantastic run, and he's always had that in him. It's not really translated too much because we've obviously changed him to a, let's say, Gini Wijnaldum-esque midfielder. He was obviously the exciting young attacking midfielder, but he does have that in his locker, and I think Jamie Carragher said it best. I think he should have been starting the game anyway on Sunday, but he said he's just made it undroppable for the game on Sunday.
He has to start. He has to start. I'm sorry. There's no argument. There's nothing that goes in Gravenberch's favour. There's not one thing he does better than Curtis Jones. The dribbling is about even, and it's only even because Curtis doesn't do it very often. But when he does, there was one dribble in the first half where he picked the ball up in the centre circle. I think Endo laid it off for him, and he just drove at them and he danced through 3 players and laid it off. You're thinking, that's what we want to see. That's what you're capable of. Do more of that. But everything else he does, he's just levels and levels above the other fella. He just is. He's a much better footballer at this moment, at this time, than Ryan Gravenberch. Does Ryan Gravenberch have more talent than Curtis Jones? Yeah, probably does. And his ceiling is probably higher, but his floor is a hell of a lot lower. Curtis Jones needs to be in our team until we sign a defensive midfielder, a proper one, and Alexis can go back to playing as an 8 where he belongs. Curtis Jones has got to be in our team every single game that he's available for, because he's that good and he's that important to us. He gives us balance. He gives us defensive stability. He gives us ball retention. He gives us work rate. He gives us things that are vital to the functionality of a team. And tonight we were a team, and that's why we won. And that goal is just brilliant. He just dances through the defence. They're all backing off. They're falling over. They don't know what to do. None of them are going to make a tackle. And he's just like, oh, if these are going to keep backing up, I wonder, can I back them into their goal? And then he just decides to shoot and score. At which point David Moyes reached for his 14th bottle of Heineken and just slumped behind the bench. Probably put a phone call in to Grant and said, Grant. Well, I can't do a Phil Mitchell voice, but he probably rang Grant or you know, whoever, Billy Mitchell maybe, and said, look, come and get me. I've made a mess of myself. I might have soiled myself. I'm not quite sure.
Reverse Ian Beale.
Yeah, literally. But come and help me, because I've made a mess. I actually need to jump off. So, brilliant win, brilliant performance. Fulham next. We should beat them. Should win this cup. We're the best team in it by a mile. This is one of 2 cups that are lining up very, very nicely for us, where we are the prohibitive favourites to win, and we should win both. And hopefully we see a performance and a shape similar to this against Arsenal at the weekend. We go and beat them. We go back top of the league, and we get ourselves some momentum heading into the rest of the Christmas period. 2-footed every day, daily red every day. There's a scouted tomorrow for Arsenal, and I think that's all I'm doing for the rest of this week is daily red and scouted. So daily red, 2-footed and scouted. So yeah, I will see you all later. Bye bye.
See you, lad.
Thank you, Dave. Trev, I mean, we were going to finish up anyway, so any final thoughts and then plugs for yourself?
Yeah, I'm looking here at Cody Gakpo got to hand over Curtis as man of the match award, and Cody sort of takes the stage for a second and says, I just want to say a quick word, very proud of you, you're working really hard, you deserve all the best, keep going, brother. And you know what? It's entirely heartfelt, and I just love it. And then we embrace between the boys afterwards is fantastic. This is the type of thing that we love with this squad, that we love with Jurgen and what he's creating at Liverpool. It's only when it goes with trophies that I'm happy. The rest of it is beautiful and whatever, but I wouldn't be in it for that alone. It makes me happy. I can talk about it. I can have a laugh about it. I can be pleased by it. I can be heartwarmed by it, whatever. But it's only when we win trophies. And like I said earlier on, for someone like Virgil van Dijk or Alisson Becker, if you like, Mo Salah, those trophies need to get on the shelf. We need to convert Liverpool 2.0 under Klopp into actual silverware to reflect the brilliance of the manager and of the very best players that he's had in this era. And something about tonight gave me a very happy feeling about that. Yeah, sorry for what Dr. Seuss would have called David Moyes, the shat in the hat. Sorry for you, Dave. It's a bad night. I feel bad about it, but at the same time, I don't give a shit. We're into a semi-final. It's great. I feel like we've done something very, very important for the team. But of course, that will be borne out by whether or not we convert that into a result against Arsenal, where everyone's going to be watching. And you just feel these guys have enough about them character-wise to step up to the plate. In terms of podcasts, as we discussed, you and I, due to family reasons, I'm not going to be able to do the Arsenal game. However, due to family reasons, I'm also going to be able to do the what we call Stephen's Day, what you guys call Boxing Day in the UK. show instead when I wasn't going to be able to before. Things just changed due to my kids' availability. So I'm not going to be around to do Raw for Arsenal. Guy has offered to step into the bridge. God bless him. I appreciate him for that. Myself and Jan are getting together tomorrow. That's Thursday the 21st to do a Malby on the Spot. I've promised young Dave Davis that we'll do a transfer pod whenever he's ready. And we are looking to do a festive AIP before the big day. It will all depend. We have some interesting people lined up. We have a blast from the past for you guys. An AIOG coming back potentially into the fold, so that's good. Lots to look forward to, whether it's pre-Christmas or post-Christmas. Endless content. I'll be talking into a mic relentlessly, yeah, you know where to keep it tuned. I would say, Guy, just before we finish, if you're coming into the Christmas period and you're looking for something perhaps that might be a good idea for someone for a Christmas present, why not say, oh, I'll get you a year of subscription to AI or to AI Pro rather, because to me, if it's a football fan in your life and you give them the gift of these podcasts, there's a lot of really good people doing really good stuff that, honestly, I wouldn't be arsed listening to if it wasn't good. I certainly won't promote it. I'm not that kind of a shill. So I do really think there's a lot of good people doing good stuff. It's well worth the absolutely piddly nominal fee that it costs you to rid yourself of the ads or whatever else might be bugging you. So do consider that as a Christmas gift, I would say, as my last word. And I will see you all on the 26th, what we call Stephen's Day here. I would have been excommunicated by my family, but things changed and now I have no family around on the 26th. So instead I will be here to talk to you about Liverpool's game against Burnley, I believe, at 5:30. That's it, Guy.
Beautiful. Who doesn't want to share Boxing Day with Vince and company? The dream. Dear. But yeah, thank you. See, he's a pro. I would never have done that plug for AI Pro there. That's why he's the usual host. Right. Thank you everyone for listening. It's been a long one, but there was 6 goals in that game and we played bloody well. It was fun to talk. And Phil Mitchell. Can't work out Phil Mitchell. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening, especially the people in Discord. If you don't listen to any more podcasts from me, have a Merry Christmas and New Year and all that jazz, and Merry Christmas from everyone at AI as well. I'm sure there will be other pods, but I'll say it whilst I'm here. Thank you and goodbye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.